What's going on out there, people? Hopefully, everybody's doing well and um, you're enjoying your weather and you're enjoying your lives out there. It's looking like here in Alaska, we're back. We're finally in springtime. We're running 40s and 50s temperatures. Had a little chance to get out there. Had a little bit of a chance to get out there and do some raking on some leaves today. Actually climbed up on the roof and decided that probably wasn't a good idea. um, so got back down and did some yard work, did some stuff in the garage. My wife was doing some stuff in the garage too. She's decorating one of her walls so that her walls look pretty good by her bench area. And looks like we're going to go over to a friend's house and have a little barbecue today. So yeah, things are going well up here. It's looking like a lot of the people around the country are starting to wake up to the corrupt politicians trying to keep them hampered and stuck in their homes and everything else. I think people are getting tired of being stuck like that. They want to be able to go to work, want to be able to start making a living again. And, here's the thing is once people start going back to work, and I know the government kicked in X amount of dollars for unemployment and yada, yada, yada. How many people are going to want to go back to work and make less than what they were making on unemployment? I'm making about the same amount, so it doesn't matter to me. I'd prefer to be at work. I can't stand being at home because there's good things about it, but for the most part, you get bored and you end up spending money whenever you don't have things to do. So, Jeffrey Eric said he built a chicken coop. Cool, man. Good job, dude. Good for you. Hey, Sherry. What's up, Kenny? I'm doing good, Tony. Thank you for asking. What's going on, Mike Torsky? The time is short. Time to provide New York, Nevada. Yeah. I mean, there's been rallies and there's been events at the capitals and stuff across the country. California went off yesterday. Nevada's going off today. Michigan went off the other day. There is popping up all over the place. Huntington Beach, California was crazy the other day. And, I think it's pretty much sending a pretty clear message to the governors and the people who run this state that the people are sick of it. They're not going to put up with it anymore. I did have some friends of mine that got arrested yesterday in California. Lou Conley is probably one of my better friends that got wrapped up and he was out there protecting people, and the CHP there in California arrested him. And took him off the property. He said when he was in there, he was in there with about 35, 40 other people. So that kind of gives you an idea of, them rounding up people and getting them off the property. And if you look at the images and everything, it looked like the Gestapo was there. They're there protecting their governor and or their king or whatever you want to say. And it doesn't look good. Instead of, and I know that they have a job to do, and everybody, most of the people on our side, see the cops as good people, but at the same time, they have the complete option to disobey unconstitutional laws. This is everything that they did yesterday that I've seen in California was unconstitutional. They pushed the people away from the building that we own, that we pay for every year, and there's other states that allow citizens to go in armed. Michigan is one of them. Idaho is another one. And there's not near the problems that they had in California. I don't know, I know here in Alaska, there was a rally today for the PFD, trying to get Dunleavy to okay in the legislature to okay a full PFD for the people here. I did not make that one. Actually, I got up late, so I didn't get a chance to get out there. Didn't sleep very well again last night, but would have liked to have gone. But I think it's coming to a head, and I think that the governors of these states need to heed the warning that's going on right now in front of them. I mean, I know Nevada. I had some friends that went out to Nevada, went to the governor's mansion there, and went against him. And I mean, it's getting pretty tense in some areas. So I hope that the governors take heed and start opening up the states and everything. And here, it's not so much our governor as it is our mayor in Anchorage. She's holding up progress. We're the business that I work for. They're doing everything in phases, and we're supposed to be like in phase 3, which is sporting venues and places like that. And we're in phase 3 right now. They're in phase 1, so we've probably got another month or month and a half before we can even open if we go along their timeline. Now, with that said, life here in Anchorage isn't really slowing down. I mean, people are still out. We went to Walmart yesterday to pick up groceries, and there was probably 100 people or 150 people in Walmart. But yet, some of these other stores, which have bigger spaces, are limited to 20 people at a time. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, they're only allowing 20 people in at a time, and you can't go in unless you're wearing a mask. And the Surgeon General has now come out and said that wearing a mask, you can actually get just as sick by wearing a mask, because now you're breathing in the you're breathing back in the CO2 carbon monoxide, or what, not carbon monoxide, but carbon dioxide. You're breathing that back in, and not to mention, if you're using the same mask over and over again, now you've got bacteria in it, so you're getting that stuff in your lungs. So there's a lot of people up here. In fact, I mean, when we went into Walmart, they've got all kinds of different little signs and stuff on the floor. You're supposed to go one way up an aisle and one way back the other way. No one's abiding by it. People are just they're ignoring it. They're going up along their own business and doing what they want to do. And you're not going to have one guy in office that's going to get everybody to abide by it. And honestly, I think it's great to see it. This country's free. We're not supposed to be bowing down to politicians that think that they know better than us. So, let's see here. I'm looking at some of the comments real quick. I was at the California State Capitol. It went great until the end of the day when they wanted to push us out. Fred Bowerman said that. What's going on, Robert Trask? Mayors are bad around here too. Yeah, I know. California, they're all bad. CO2. Yeah, carbon dioxide. I was far from peaceful, but not violent. Well, there becomes a point where you don't have to be violent. I mean, you can get your point across, and not be peaceful, but not be violent. There's what I got a kick out of is there was a plane flying around the Capitol in California yesterday with a sign of Newsom. Like Hitler, he had a little mustache and everything. And then today I seen a video of I'm guessing it's probably the same guy, had a big banner made up, and it was the same thing. It had Newsom as Hitler and had the little mustache on it, and calling to end his tyranny. So that's great to see. And what I'm seeing too in a lot of these rallies, yesterday's California rally was the biggest one I've seen in a long time in California, if not one of the biggest at the Capitol anyway. And I seen, just looking through the videos and the pictures and everything like that, it wasn't just conservatives that was there. It was liberals that was there. It was everybody. They're getting tired of it. They're getting tired of being told what to do. And, you back an animal into a corner, and eventually they're going to bite back. And we're at that point right now. We're at the point where we're going to bite back. I've seen I've seen a lot of chances for these governors to do the right thing, and they just continually just keep pushing people into the corner. Right now we've got farmers and ranchers and places like that are killing their livestock, and they're killing they're plowing over their crop, and it sucks to see that. And people that's the kind of stuff that scares the crap out of people, because we end up in a food shortage. We're going to end up being like the Great Depression. And the only way that we ever came out of the Great Depression was we ended up in a war, and the war machine started running, and then people started getting the jobs back, and we're in a different time now. So, not saying that we won't end up in a war eventually, but it's it's a different time now. So the wars look a lot different than what they did back then. I know that China and Russia and Iran and all these other places that we're enemies with, they would love to do anything to us, and right now it'd be the perfect time for them to do it because we're weak. And unfortunately, if the governors of this country don't understand that, and I don't think that they care. I personally don't think that the governors, like in Michigan, California, New York, New Jersey, I don't think that the governors care. They're out for themselves. They're out to make a name for themselves, and the money in their pocket and everything else. So they're going to do whatever it is that they feel like that they have to do to get rich and rule the masses. Let's see here. Take a look at the comments again. Last year, President Trump got $14 billion for the farmers, $16 billion for the farmers this year, and $8 billion coming up subsidized what China is ripping off from them. Yeah, that's the thing is, we have farmers and ranchers and stuff over here that are killing their livestock, but yet China's still shipping over meat, and they're still shipping over product for us to sell over here, and we keep buying it. Now, that would change if for some reason we decided to shut them off at the ports and not allow that stuff over here. Then our ranchers and stuff like that might be able to survive. The problem is whenever you get competition from overseas and they're selling it for a percentage of what we sell it for, then it screws us. It sucks to see milk go to waste. It sucks to see chickens and stuff get killed. Speaking of which, there was 3 chicken plants last week that burnt to the ground. I don't know how many chickens that equates to, but one of them had like 300,000 chickens in it. It just seems to be it's a pretty big coincidence that we had 3 chicken plants that burnt down. One Tyson food truck, chicken truck, burn up. Well, who's starting all these fires? Why are these fires getting started all of a sudden? Are they trying to collect insurance? Are they being sabotaged, or what's going on with that? It's been all over the news, and we've got a decision that we need to make come November, and I think most of my friends know who they're voting for. But it's not just Trump. We have to make sure that we take back the parts of Congress that we don't have. We have to make sure that we control the Senate and the House. Not just one of them. We got to control them both. If we're going to get any agenda of Trump's past, or we're going to do anything that's going to keep from hindering him, we're going to have to control both sides. So, make sure that you really push and really push and really push, and get your friends out there to vote, and make sure that, if you got anybody that doesn't think that they have to vote, you need to let them know, and you need to show them everything that you can possibly show them to get them to understand that they have to get out there and do it. Looks like they're trying to make money off the insurance company. Yeah, Fred, that's exactly what I was thinking too. It seems to me that the mainstream media is controlling everything. They're controlling the narrative as far as the Joe Biden sexual assault claims. They're not running any kind of stories on that. What happened to the Me Too movement? They obviously believe Joe, and they don't believe the woman, even though whenever Brett Kavanaugh had zero evidence against him, even though it was an allegation. Although I'm not real happy with Brett Kavanaugh. He's voted against conservatism a few times now in the Supreme Court. So his record is not flawless on our side. So I'm not going to go into any more of that, but it's definitely a one-sided system, and we don't control it. The conservatives don't control that. So we're going to have to make sure that that power shift happens. If it doesn't happen, then we're going to continue to keep seeing the crap that we've got. Personally, I think that Trump needs to go in and he needs to find a way to get the media not to go on his side specifically, but to be more down the middle. He needs to stop the propaganda. The propaganda machine is exactly what is hindering his problem. If they're going to report stuff, they need to make sure that it's true. That and an example of that is the Kim Jong-un thing, right? So CNN came out with a thing last week saying that they thought he was dead, brain dead, and they ran with a few stories. And he was gone. He was missing for 21 days or whatever. And then he pops up and he's cutting a ribbon at a I don't know, some kind of a plant over in North Korea. So again, they're not being truthful. They're trying to sow the seeds of deceit, and we continue to keep letting them do it. I haven't seen a retraction on any of their things yet, so they just think it's okay to lie to everybody and come up with false stories and try and one up the next guy, even though the crap that they're doing is fake. So it is what it is. We're in a society right now that is too weak to stand up and hold these politicians and these news reporters and everybody else accountable. The Liberty tree, the tree of liberty, is wilting right now. It really is. And if we don't do something to water that tree, our liberties and stuff are going to be washed down the river here very soon. I've seen a lot of things and a lot of positive things this last weekend, but we're going to have to keep building on that. We can't just have an event and then forget about it for the next 2 weeks. You're going to have to keep pushing, and you're going to have to keep showing up, and you're going to have to keep pushing back. Whether that, you're going to have to step up your game. That means you're going to have to continue to keep showing up at these things. Right now is a perfect time for us to assemble because a lot of folks are out of work. You've got time on your hands. You may not have money, but you have time on your hands. So we have to use that time that we have right now. If you're not working, we have to use that time wisely. We have to use that time to our advantage and show them that we're done taking crap. Let's see. Merle Stout, hey, just got here. What's new? And don't tell me fake news either. Merle, I never tell fake news. At least I try not to. There's plenty of fake news going around. I don't need to add to it. Take your pick. CNN, Fox News, especially Fox News lately. They've been pretty bad. Letting people go that are telling the truth and keeping those in there that are willing to lie to you for a buck. Gas is cheap. Yeah, gas is cheap. I think we're down to like roughly $1.70 or something a gallon, which in Alaska is very unheard of. It's never been that low since I lived up here 10, 15 years ago. So it's good to see, but at the same time, we depend on the oil and the gas prices up here to keep a lot of things running in Alaska. The state of Alaska is going to suffer a little bit this year, for sure. Maybe from the years to come, I'm not sure because of the COVID thing. Our tourism is way, way down already. We expect that to continue for at least the next year. There was an article that came out, I think it was in the ADN or something, that mentioned that we're going to have Alaska residents are going to have a lot more room for outdoor activities this year because there's no tourists coming. I know that a lot of people that work at the airport seasonally are not going to have their jobs this year just because there's not going to have the tourism that we've had in the past. In fact, one of my friends is probably not going to get a job loading planes this year. So it is just one of those things that why does that keep dinging? Shouldn't be dinging. Let me turn that off. There we go. Now it won't ding no more. But we got we have to be positive on things. We see a lot of bright spots with the citizens right now. We have to keep pushing forward, and we cannot let up, because if we let up, I mean, they're just going to continue to steamroll over us. So To all those folks out there that stood up this last week, pat yourself on the back. You did a great job, but don't let up. You can't let up, because if you do, then we become an afterthought, and we don't want to become an afterthought. We have to start being proactive instead of reactive. Proactive is the operative word there. Spend time with your family. Get out, spend time with your friends. Show them that you're not scared of this thing. That's a huge thing. I mean, the numbers and stuff, they dropped, the CDC dropped the numbers from, what was it, 67,000 or whatever the hell it was, down to 30, or I can't remember what they dropped the number down to, but it was like half of what they originally announced. I think a lot of that was because a lot of people were dying and they were attributing it to COVID rather than actual illness that they had. So they got caught, and some of these hospitals probably got caught with their fingers in the cookie jar. So I'm hoping that not all of these places are going to get money from the government because of this, because I think that if I remember right, they were getting X amount of dollars per person that died of COVID or that they treated for COVID. So they were padding a lot of the numbers in that respect. We did find out that we are getting the stimulus, so that'll be coming, I think, May the 6th. We finally got the IRS app to work. That was a friggin' nightmare. We couldn't get through, couldn't add our banking info, nothing like that. Finally, they did an update to it, and we were able to get through. Some friends of ours got through also, and now we found out when we're going to get our money, which is nice. We're actually going to use it to stimulate the economy. We're going to build a deck on the back of the house, so that's where that money is going to go. Well, part of it anyway. The rest of it will go to bills and, keep food on the table and all that kind of stuff. But since we bought the house, we want to continue to update it and make it better. So we're going to put a deck on the back of the house here in the next week or two, hopefully. I got a good friend that's going to help me out with it. So, yeah, so, exactly, Merle. Continue constant pressure on the politicians. They need to give way long before we will. Absolutely. Keep up the pressure on them. Yep, that's exactly what we got to do. We have to continually remind these idiots that we still exist, because they live in a world of their own. They have their own, they seem to have their own laws. They seem to have their own agendas, and it's all about the money, Right now is the perfect time, with everybody out of work and not working and not being able to go and do things. Now is the perfect time to stand up. If you're not working, you're not doing anything, and you're tired of it, and you want to get back to work and get back to things as normal, you're going to have to stand up, because if you don't, no one's going to do it for you. So again, the people that stood up yesterday in California and the day before in Michigan and all over the place this weekend, give yourself a pat on the back. I'm proud of all of you, and you really personify what it means to be an American. So keep doing that, keep pushing, and we have to make things get back to normal. They're not going to let us get things back to normal. We're going to have to make them allow us to. It's going to be one of those things we're going to have to just push, and you know what? Say we're not going to live by your agenda, and we're going to have to take matters in our own hands. And those people that are out there that are getting fined for opening their businesses, you know what? There's courts and stuff. Start suing them. There's all kinds of things that we can do still, and it's all going to have to be done. And if the city governments and stuff start getting huge lawsuits against them, they ain't going to have no choice but to start backing down. So that's the one good thing that the court system does allow us to do, is it allows us to go against the politicians that way. I just hope that the ones that are in the liberal cities find a judge that'll actually halfway listen. So I just wanted to jump on here real quick. I started sharing this stuff to one of my public pages now. So if you can, get over and like Sherman Tank, and hopefully we'll get that kind of built up a little bit. And I want to start having some guests on. I've been mentioning that the last few videos. Haven't had too many people reach out. Don't know why. But I would love to interview someone that has been at these rallies and these events, maybe Monday. Let some time go by and let everybody kind of spend time with their family and enjoy the wins that we got. I think in interviewing Lou Conley would be a great thing. The only thing I require is you just have to have it's completely slipped my mind. You got to have an app so that you can video call me. And let's see, what is that? Oh, it's Skype. You got to have Skype to call me. So if you got Skype, you can call me. You can look me up. I got 2 different profiles on there. You can look me up, and then I can take your video into my podcast, and we can go from there. I'm looking at possibly doing a podcast on a different platform, not on Facebook and stuff like that. I can share it there, but I'm looking at doing more of a professional podcast. It'll be more voice than anything else. So hopefully, I'm going to try that and see how well that turns out. I have a friend of mine that did it. It turned out really well for him, so I'm going to give it a shot. But hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's still healthy. I hope everybody is going to return to work here soon, and I hope everybody is fed. Hopefully everybody's making enough money to stay that way. Tell me when you're going on, like one day. All right, Bella, I'll do that. Bella said, went out all day, cruised with 200 cars, went in and out, hung out with our friends, social distances. Of course, no mask, no glove. Good for you, Bella. Good for you. What do I think about vaccinations? Well, I haven't had a flu shot since high school, and I'll probably continue to do that. And yeah, so I mean, I think it's everybody's preference personally, but if you're going to get something injected into you, I think you better know what the hell's in it. If there's aluminum in it, or if there's all this kind of crap that's not good for your body, if it's in there, you don't want it in your body. I mean, I think it's time that we start using some common sense when it comes to that stuff. I know that there's a lot of anti-vaxxers out there and everything else. I'll tell you right now, I took allergy shots when I was a kid, and it helped me tremendously. It's different than a vaccine, but an allergy shot, if you don't know, you've never had them, what they do is they introduce the allergen into your body through a shot, and your body learns to adjust to it. And I took them for 4 years, from the time I was 14 till I was 18. And I'll tell you right now, this is how good it worked for me. Now, I lived in Colorado, and I lived in farming country. So every season, right around harvest, which is late July, early August, I would get so congested. My eyes would itch, my nose would itch. I was just miserable. And they realized that I had allergies. They weren't seasonal allergies. I was allergic to a lot of things when they tested me. So they put me on shots for 4 years. And by the time I hit 16 years old and I was still on the shots, I grew 6 inches. There's a steroid in there too that helps get everything through. I grew 6 inches, and then my senior year I grew another 2. And I went from being like 5'8" or 5'6" to 6'2". And some of that was natural, but some of it was the steroids and eating better because everything tasted better. I mean, if you've never taken allergy shots and you've got allergies and you've got problems, I highly recommend you doing it. But at the same time, I know what was in this stuff. My family did research on it before I ever started doing that kind of thing. So, vaccinations are different. Just make sure that you know what's in it before it goes in your body. Make sure it's been tested well. Make sure that not everyone's dying from the crap. So I think it's something that it's everybody's choice. Merle, my body, my choice. Absolutely. I don't think that they should ever be forced on anybody. I think that if they do that, then I think that it's unconstitutional, it's dangerous. And if they're forcing someone to take a vaccination, I don't think that they know the consequences of it. To me, whenever I was a kid, when we went to school, we took like 4 shots. There was a booster shot, there was a rabies shot, there was some other stuff. But now it's like 32 shots that these kids have to take before they're like in first grade now, I think. I don't remember what the number is, but it's real high. And, you know, we go from 4 shots to 32 shots. It's no wonder we're having autism when we're having all the other kind of crap that we've got going on. You know, because now you're introducing foreign stuff into the human anatomy, and it's a forced thing. I mean, it's a crapshoot whether or not your kid's gonna end up getting sick or not. Stay strong, brother. All right, appreciate that, Fred. Yeah, Bella, I'll give you a notice. I think it'd be good to have you on. You just gotta have Skype. We can get you on. It'll be fun. Yeah, I won't be forced. Well, yes and no. If you go in the military, they force you to take shots before you can go. You have to take a. I know that there's one shot in there that's supposed to help with anthrax. You have to take. It's an anthrax vaccination, and people that I know that have taken that, some people have gotten sick, and some people have never taken anything else, and they're just fine. So, you know, I think it depends on the person too. If you're a healthy person, I think you're probably going to be okay, but you know, nobody knows. I mean, everybody's chemistry is different, and everybody's going to react to different things in their own way. So, anyway, just wanted to kind of jump on real quick and share this. I was kind of testing it more than anything else, but I love y'all. I'm proud of all the patriots that stood up and said, "To hell with this." And we have to keep doing it. We can't rest on our laurels. We got to make sure that we get out there and keep the pressure on. And we're going to eventually be able to, if we keep doing this, we're eventually going to get these politicians face to face. And that's what we really ultimately need to do. We need to get them face to face, and they need to hear from us directly. Us standing outside of a building personally and screaming and hollering and everything else isn't getting their attention. We're going to have to get them face to face. And I don't know what that's going to take. I don't know what that's going to look like. But if we don't start getting people face to face, then it's all going to fall on deaf ears. Because you can show up at a Capitol, you can show up to these buildings, and you can threaten all you want to. But if the threat is not in their face, it's not a threat. You're going to have to get out there, and they're going to have to see you face to face. They're going to have to see the emotion coming out of you. They're going to have to feel it. If you do that, then I think you can make some changes. With that said, we're going to get ready to go over and have a barbecue, so I'm going to get off here. But I love y'all. Take it easy, and I will catch you another time. This is Sherman Tank, and I am out for the evening.